And there's growing concern over the whereabouts of Rivers State Governor LG Fubara, who is set to resume today after a 6-month suspension. Earlier in the day, sole administrator Ibot Etaibas handed over power to Governor Fubara, declaring that law and order had been restored in the state. While the lawmakers, led by Speaker Martin Ameule, resumed sitting today less than 24 hours after President Bola Tinubu ended emergency rule. Thousands of supporters who waited outside the main entrance into the Rivers State Government House to welcome the governor were left disappointed as he failed to resume. Expectations were high that he would resume immediately. However, hours later, his absence has sparked widespread speculation over his whereabouts, deepening political uncertainty in the state. I'm now joined from Port Harcourt by the National Coordinator of the South-South Elders Forum in Rivers State, Anabs, Sara-Igbe. Glad to have you join us on Prime Time. All right, well, like I was just saying, a wee bit there, Anabs Sara-Igbe is joining us, is of the South-South, is National Coordinator of the South-South. I mean, after the President lifted the emergency, which lasted 6 months in Rivers State, I was expected the Governor, LG Fubara, will resume duties today, particularly with the handing over to him by the administrator, sole administrator, Ebas. But as we speak, the talk is that his whereabouts are yet unknown. I'm going to be throwing that to Anabs a little while. All right, I think he's ready now. Yes, Anabs Sara-Igbe, glad to have you join us on Prime Time.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Well, I'm sure you heard me read. Nigerians and Rivers people have been biding their time, waiting for this moment, especially after the President lifted the state of emergency without extension in Rivers State. Let me ask you pointedly, so we can hear it. I can hear it from your mouth, and Nigerians can hear it too. Has the governor resumed?
Well, the governor ought to resume today, but as at this afternoon, he's yet to arrive here. He's an executive governor. Nobody is censoring him. We believe he will be here any moment, and as soon as he comes in, he will make it public.
What of his deputy? Is his deputy not around as well? Because, I mean, by law, after 21 days, I mean, if he gets to that, the Speaker will step in acting capacity until another election within a time frame, because there cannot be a vacuum in the government house. So what about his deputy, Odu?
Well, like I said, the governor and the deputy are executive officers. They report to nobody. They report to the Constitution and Rivers people. Rivers people are anxiously waiting for them. As soon as both of them arrives, they will make themselves available to Rivers people and the Nigerians to see. The man was abroad. We don't know what happens to him. We don't know why. There may be anything we don't know. The last time I spoke to Government House was around 5 o'clock, and they said no message yet. So as soon as we get message and the man arrives, it will not be an Indian governor. It will be a public governor, and we'll know.
So before I go to a statement, one or two statements that Ibas made while handing over to the governor, let me just ask you, what's the state of things in Rivers State? How are the people feeling? How are you feeling after the suspension, lifting of the suspension of the governor?
Well, you can see Rivers people are so excited to see their governor because since he left, everything came to standstill. If we're talking about Mr. Project, same Fubara is the Mr. Project. He has project across the whole state. There's no local government that he was not having project running. But since for the past 6 months, Everything came to a halt, and we don't know what Anabs has done with our money. We don't know how he spent his money. But all we know is we want our governor to come and start the good work he's doing.
All right. I learned that the House of Assembly, led by Martins Amewule, sat today, and they're asking the governor, who, we are speaking here, is still at large, as it were. They're asking him to come present the budget.
Well, I will advise the Assembly not to be hostile. They all just came back. We believe that both parties have learned their lessons. And what Rivers people want is peace and harmony. We don't need acrimony. It is the executive duty of the governor to choose his commissioners and at appropriate time present them to the House of Assembly. He cannot be stampeded to be doing that. The governor is just coming back to office. We have not seen him yet, but if he comes, he needs to settle down and look at the books, look at what is around him before he would now know the team to work with. There were agreements and there were compromises met. At that point, he will have to review them and know which one is going to implement. But I believe the governor is willing to implement those agreements reached, and it will be able to bring development, that will bring development to Rivers State. And Rivers people also believe that both the years of Wike faction and the same factions are interested in the development of Rivers State. And therefore, the Rivers State development should be sacrosanct to all of us. But we cannot get that without peace. We cannot get that in rancor. The governor should come, call the House of Assembly, they are his friends. Whatever that has happened and gone. The House of Assembly should see the governor as their friend. And they should bury their shit and let us see how both parties can work together in the interest of the state. That the former era is gone. This is the era of peace, and this is the era of teamwork. We need to work as a team to see that we bring development for the state. Because in the past 6 months, when a stranger came to plunder our resources, nobody was able to say anything. We know that the state of emergency was unconstitutional, contrary to Section 11(4) of the 1999 Constitution, which banned the National Assembly from making laws that would remove elected governors. But be that as it may, even Section 305 did not guarantee that the president to do what he did. But that is all history. What we need in Rivers State now is how will the state move forward. We are now like every other state where democratic governance is in place. So we appeal to all concerned to ensure that there should be a teamwork, there should be mutual understanding, there should be trust among themselves, and let them work for the interests of the state that elected them.
You couldn't have put it better. Before I get to talk about, because you mentioned certain things, you mentioned lessons learned, you mentioned Ibas, the sole administrator. Before I get to Ibas, and you mentioned the question of plundering, so let me ask you this. Labour Party is calling for an immediate investigation into the 6-month emergency rule in Rivers State. Peter Mayor of the COP says democracy has been giving a bloody nose and Rivers people have been cowed into submission. Then Chekwas Okorie, a foundation chairman of the ABGA, he says governance is bound to suffer because the governor gave up virtually everything in the course of negotiations. What do you make of this statement by the Labour Party and AME and then Chekwas Okorie, investigations, and then that the governor who is coming back gave up everything in the negotiations?
Well, that is the opinion. They have the right to the opinion. But what is paramount is that Nigeria has institutions that can investigate corruption. We have the EFCC, we have the ICPC. And the State House of Assembly is also empowered to investigate corruption in the state. It is not a duty of the governor to go about investigating the sole administrator or anybody that is involved. What the president has elected somebody to be there illegally, it is a national law. The judiciary is to interpret when maybe EFCC carry out their operations and find him culpable. So far as we are concerned, River State, we do not see what he did or used our money to do. So there was no feasible project he can point to that this is what he did with Rivers money in the 6 months. So it's left for the EFCC and the ICPC to find out what really happened. What we would advise the governor to do is to build bridges, is to ensure that peace and tranquility is achieved in River State, and let him concentrate with his developmental stride. Let him build more roads, more schools, more hospitals and health centers, and ensure that salaries are paid. That is the desire of Rivers people, and empower the people who are into small-scale business and other things. This is the interest of Rivers State. We are not interested in the governor himself investigating, where we have the EFCC that can do that, where we have the ICPC that can do that, where we have the National Assembly also that can investigate what has happened to the state, because they put us into this mess knowing fully well that under Section 11.4, they have no powers to make laws to remove an elected governor. Rivers people are not interested. We are looking at that as a bygone matter. We want to move forward. We have been deprived of development, and what we need now is the governor to come down and see that development goes around the entire state as it's used to do.
Yeah. This is credited to Anabs in his handover. He says one of the enduring lessons of this season is that the exercise of power without restraint can cripple institutions, and rivalry without dialogue clearly endangers democracy. Do you think that as events play out, that the lessons have been learned?
Well, we believe that both parties have learned their lessons, because the state that elected them have suffered for the past 6 months. There was no problem in River State. There was no security threat in River State before the 16th of emergency was declared. We have seen crisis in Plateau, Benue, and in the northern part, Benue and Borno, where we had crisis. And that's why Section 305 is meant for. Peace was here. A bus also confirmed there was peace in River State, and there has been peace till he left here. There is no problem in River State, and Rivers people are very peaceful, and we want to continue to remain peaceful. What we are concerned about today is that our governor should be released wherever he is to us. Let him come and move the state forward. You can see everybody jubilating, everybody is happy that the illegal institutions has been waived. So we are happy that yes, he has come. We want him to build bridges. We want him to reach out to everybody. They should forgive, and that the others also forgive. Let us come together as a family and work towards the development of the state. I think that is the interest of every Rivers man and woman.
Now, talking about peace and development, one of your own, the FCT Minister, Wike, he says President Tinubu is committed to peace, that the president's intervention has restored Rivers people's confidence. Would you say that what the FCT Minister is saying holds sway in Rivers State?
Well, we are not here to comment on what somebody says. What is important is the minister himself was a former governor and is a son of Rivers State. The present governor is also a son of Rivers State. Both of them should come back and work together. If I would recall, in the town hall meeting, I called for peace and asked Wike to call his godson, the governor, into the room and lock themselves up and resolve peace. Today, Rivers people are happy that, yes, Wike has done exactly what we asked him to do, or what we expect him to do. And we want that peace process to continue. We want that dialogue to continue. We want that harmony to continue. That is what Rivers people are interested in. We are not interested in any story or what this person say or what that person did not say. Our concern as of today is our governor has come back, and that he should be able to do the work without hindrance. That's our concern. And it's also our belief that whatever negotiation they have will be in the interest of Rivers State and the people of Rivers.
Which turn do you expect governance to take with the governor, a PDP member, 27 members of the House, now APC members, with only 4 members on his side? Which turn do you expect governance to take in Rivers State?
Well, I'm just hearing from you that the assembly members are now APC. Before the Supreme Court, they said they are not APC, they are PDP, that they have not decamped. And now we are said we don't want to go into those intricacies. Whether they are anybody who's wrong or who is right does not matter at this stage. The stage we have is peace building and reconciliation. The stage we have is mutual understanding. The stage we have is how do we move the state forward. We have been taken backward for more than 4 or 5 years within 6 months. So how do we meet up with this backwardness to compete with other states? We are now enjoying democracy, as it were, but we want this democracy to continue in peace and dialogue. That is nothing dialogue cannot resolve, that is nothing peace cannot bring. So both parties should resort into peace building, dialogue, and move ahead to the interest of the state.
All right. Well, you talked about commissioners when he comes back. Now, some lawyers are saying that Fubara should sack the commissioners appointed by the sole administrator under emergency rule, that the sole administrator should have dissolved the cabinet before leaving office. Do you think he should do that?
Well, the sole administrator did not appoint any commissioner. He appointed local government chairman or whatever it is, permanent secretaries and so on. These are civil servants, they are to be promoted and as at when due. Those are not issues. He did not appoint any commissioner. And everybody believes that when the governor comes, he will consult with all stakeholders to ensure that every decision he will take is fair and in the interest of everybody. So when he comes, he will be able to dissolve his former cabinet and set up a brand new cabinet that will be in the interest of all the concerns.
But there are still unresolved issues. I mean, the case of the 11 PDP governors asking the court, Supreme Court, to declare the state of emergency illegal and declare the fact that a sole administrator was appointed also illegal. That case is still in court. It's not been resolved.
Do we have a court in Nigeria?
Well,
do we have a court in Nigeria? You see, let us be frank to ourselves. In as much as we are concerned, we don't care what happens. There is no judiciary, there is no legislature. They are all appendages of the presidency. So everybody knows this. We are not following the law, as it were. They are supposed to interpret the law according to the law. But that is not what we are seeing today. So let us see them as an appendix to the presidency and take it in that light. Rivers people are not interested in anything about Supreme Court or anything about National Assembly. We are interested in peace and tranquility in Rivers State. We are interested in the governor coming back to go ahead with his development stride. We are interested in governor working closely with Iyesom Wike and the assembly members. We are interested in the governor coming to work with everybody, and the state will be moving forward. That's our interest. The PDP governors are right to go to court, but we don't see any court in Nigeria because the judiciary has totally disappointed Nigerians. There is no judiciary in Nigeria as of today, except they prove themselves right. So we are not interested in judiciary, we are not interested in any court. So we are interested in how we can have peace building and arrive at a peaceful state. That's what our interest is as of today.
That's understandable, but when you say there's no judiciary, many will fault you on that because we still have the Supreme Court, the apex court, and then you still have other courts of the land. But let me ask you, let me deal with some other issues. We must not forget, you can't forget it, because these things will be talked about in the future, and how we handle it now will determine where democracy goes. The NAS played the role they played in using voice votes instead of actually counting the heads of their members to authorize the president to go ahead. Now listen to what the president said in his announcement. I thank the National Assembly, which, after critically evaluating the justification for the proclamation, took steps immediately as required by the Constitution to approve the declaration in the interest of peace and order in Rivers State. What do you think about the role NAS played in this, in giving the president the go-ahead to, to declare that state of emergency in Rivers State? National Assembly, I mean.
Let me start by looking at Section 11, Section 11.4, which empowers the National Assembly to make laws for the state where their House of Assembly is not there. And that law in Section 4, the last paragraph says, notwithstanding the power to make laws, they cannot make laws to remove an elected governor or deputy governor from office. Section 305 is also very clear. Section 305 do not empower the National Assembly to make laws that will remove the governor or deputy governor. But like I said, Rivers people, we have been whipped. The judiciary has closed their eyes against us. Everybody is against us. But I have to thank Nigerians. We came out in their numbers to say this is oppression. This is not fair to Rivers people. I thank the lawyers. I thank all credible Nigerians who have been able to say that the law has been compromised. And the Supreme Court that's supposed to interpret the law has also failed to interpret this law. Hello?
I'm listening to you. Go on, I'm listening to you.
So the Supreme Court has also failed to interpret the law. And so we have forgotten about the Supreme Court. We have forgotten about the judiciary. We have forgotten about the National Assembly. We know that if this assembly continue, it will only be a rubber stamp assembly. They have proved themselves to be like a rubber stamp, an extension of the presidency. So we are not bothered about them at all. Rivers people, we have been wiped. We have been whipped to our cries. We want to clean our tears by bringing the governor to do what he knows how to do best. And that is why we are advising the governor and all parties concerned to make peace, embrace peace, work together in the interest of Rivers State. We are not interested in every other thing that is going on in the state, in the country, because we have seen that there are perverse justice. And so when justice is perverse, all you need to do is to work within your framework of peace. So we are praying for peace. We want the handwork of God to Christ to intervene, so that at least as Christians we can embrace peace and do what is right before God and man, so that our conscience will be at peace after now.
Indeed, peace is very important. A situation where a godfather, I'm talking about the influence or the impact of godfatherism in our democracy or in politics, a situation where the godfather expects loyalty, not leadership, gratitude, not growth or the welfare of the people. How do you rationalize this? What's the impact on our democracy, whether in the short run or in the long run?
Well, like I said, we are not here to judge anybody now. Rivers State now need compromise. We have forgiven ourselves. We have seen it as not good for us. And so we don't comment on anybody. All we need now is peace. What I'm going to say that will bring peace and harmony in Rivers State. Whatever that has happened, we are forgiving one another. And I think we are now looking towards embracing this other and actualizing peace process that will develop the state.
What do you tell people that are saying that, I read one article, it said that Fubara has been Is it hobbled? Another said it's been subdued. Another said is a piece of the graveyard. What do you say to people? I know you've been talking about peace, but what do you say to people who are saying that about the negotiations or the kind of peace that was arrived at for him to get back into power? What do you tell such people?
Well, Fubara has not come to brief Rivers people.
Yeah.
So we don't know the level of discussions they had. We cannot preempt what they discussed until he briefs Rivers people. But what is paramount today is that Fubara is the governor of Rivers State. And as a governor of Rivers State, he has some constitutional responsibilities to the state and to the people. So those responsibilities, as enshrined in the Constitution, except the judiciary will still unturn those constitutional responsibilities. Otherwise, he's still the governor of the state. But there could be, or there can be compromise in the interest of peace. That does not make him a lame dog. If he wants to get peace, you might leave some and get some. You cannot be a win-win all through. So we expect him to reach out to everybody and see that we come back together as one. Rivers State is one, and we want to be one. We don't want to condemn anybody. We don't want to praise anybody, but we want to ensure that all parties who have learned lessons in one way or the other, that we don't want an outsider again to come and launder our resources. We want the governor to do what he was voted for. Because Rivers people are indeed happy with him. Rivers people across board are happy with him, and they can see the mass mobilization that took place today. Even though he was not there, the people were happy, and they were ready to run through the street of Port Harcourt to appreciate the governor for what he has done so far in the few years he has spent as a governor. So we want that to continue, and we also thank Nyesom Wike for embracing peace. We also thank the Assembly for embracing peace. We also thank the likes of my elder uncle, Feji Adabraba, OCG Okosha, Sergeant Awuse, and all that contributed towards this peace building to ensure that they continue to bring people together and ensure that there's peace. We don't want side talks. We don't want side attraction. All we need is now, how do we make peace and move on?
I think that would be a good place to call it a day with you, the National Coordinator of the South-South Elders Forum in Rivers State, Anabs Sara-Igbe. We want peace, and that's peace we expect. Nigerians and Rivers people expect that indeed their governor will get back, speak to them, and the peace they have long to ask for, they will get. Thank you so much for being on the program.
Thank you very much.